Alrighty then, hello and welcome everybody into the Fargone Racing GT Challenge, and we are here for the finale of this season. That's right, season 22 is almost complete, and it is going to go out with a bang here. It's a super sprint round in the GT Challenge to finish off the season, and we are at the one, the only, the Kyalami circuit here in South Africa. It's one of my personal favourites. It's a lot of people's personal favourites, and it is going to be absolute carnage from start to finish with championship battles on the line. I'm Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box, but I'm also joined by Peter Clark. How are you?
Oh yeah, not bad. Very excited to be here for the final round of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here, and there's going to be a lot of racing. 19 cars out here on the grid tonight, and with a very, very short format, 15-minute race, 18-minute race, and then a 25-minute race, there should be non-stop action. So, without further ado, qualifying's underway, and it's only a 5-minute qualifying, so everybody has got to get into their laps very, very quickly. Otherwise, it could be detrimental, so I think we should see the laps start ticking in any time now.
Yeah, it is looking like that it's going to have to be a very quick, short and sharp quali. You're only going to have about 2, maybe 3, if you're really on it, opportunities to set a lap time. But at the same time, we've got tyre strategy in this round as well. With the Super Sprint, you've only got 2 sets of tyres to last you 3 qualifyings and 3 races. So they've got to make quick lap times, but hopefully try not to eat too much into that tyre.
Yeah, that is the name of the game here, and with the adjustment to the Super Sprint format, with the races being longer as the night goes on, with race 1, race 2, and then race 3 just getting longer, I think that it is going to create a really interesting strategy element heading into tonight, because we might actually see a little bit more tyre drop-off than we've seen in previous Super Sprint efforts in previous seasons here in Fargone. So I think there's a lot for these drivers to be thinking about, so we might see a little bit of variation in the strategy. Another big talking point here is that Maddie has jumped into the Aston Martin instead of the Bentley, and she is going to have a good crack here. The Aston is an absolutely fantastic car. As anybody who watches the GT Challenge would know, I never stop ranting about this thing. It's beautiful. It drives amazing. I love Astons too much. I digress. It's the fastest car here at Kyalami from my personal experience back when I was driving on ACC. Not too sure about anymore, but if practice is anything to go off, that remains true. Maddie was 2.5 tenths clear of the rest. Can she now do that here in this first qualifying?
Yeah, it's looking like a pretty decent lap at the moment. Hopefully the Mustang ahead of her doesn't get in the way, especially through this section, and it pulls out of the way quite nicely for her to finish this flying lap here at Kyalami. Now, it's down through this very fast section of the circuit as she heads into the crocodile section of the course. It's turn 13 into turn 14. Then 15 is actually a little bit of a tricky corner here, because you're kind of turning left while braking, but then you have to flick it back right. It's not a very heavy braking zone, but a little bit of speed does have to be wiped off around the final corner now, turn 16. A run to the line, use all of the track on the exit. And what lap time are we going to see here? It's a 140.9. So just a little fun fact here, GT3 cars around Kyalami, the lap record overall is a 141.4, so we're about half a second under the real life lap record pace.
Yep, and that is normally how it goes here on ACC. The cars are absolutely rapid around every single circuit. This is the quirks of the simulator, and also the sim is always going to be quicker than the real life lap, because there's so many more variations in real life. But now, here we are on board with Stephen Rees. He made a little bit of a mistake heading out of turn 5, but now as he heads down through Sunset Corner, he has to just hook up this lap. Maddie definitely off on the right foot. This is his only really fast effort here in qualifying. The first lap is getting the tyres up. Then you've got to imagine Maddie and Stevo and everybody else will also be improving. You can't count out Justin Griffin either, currently sitting in 4th. So with 30 seconds left to go on the clock, Stephen Rees has to hook this up. And I'll tell you what, Maddie and Stevo are both a 10th up on their previous best lap times at the moment. So Maddie at the moment looking home free for pole position if she doesn't make a mistake, but I'll tell you what, she has, and Stephen Rees is currently 2 tenths up as he heads now into the long flat out left-hander and then in towards turn 13. So on the anchors now for Stephen Rees, behind the wheel of this Porsche, very agile, so it'll get through the slow speed well, but now into the trickiest part of the circuit. Do not touch the yellow curb on the inside. The sausage curb will send you to the moon. He goes around it nicely, and now into the final corner, turn 16. Get it hooked in. It's going to be a 10th improvement for Matty to make it an even bigger advantage over the top, but Stephen Rees is going to climb above Matty with a 1 minute 40.712. Matty loses out pole by 600ths of a second. Stephen Rees improved by 7/10 on his lap time.
Well, we knew it was going to be a close qualifying, but 600ths of a second is insanely close. And then looking at third there, it's only less than half a second behind. So it does look like a pretty big gap between second and third, but 0.4 of a second around a circuit that's over 4 kilometers long is not too big of a margin, isn't it?
No, it's really not. It is an absolutely fantastic margin. That pole margin, I can't get over that. 600ths of a second. That's something you might see around Austria in a Formula One car, not a GT Challenge round around a 1 minute 40 second lap. So really impressive margins here up and down the field. So it's Stephen Rees on pole position for race 1 and in qualifying 1. Matty is on the front row alongside him in P2, 600ths away. Then Justin Griffin takes home 3rd. Then Andrew Long takes home 4th. Then Hoggy gets 5th. And then Parker gets 6th. So that is your front 3 rows. And then you have Nick and Perkins in 7th and 8th. Then Bartoletti and Alexandra in P9 and P10. Then MJ, Tobasiah, Tim Bradley, Speed Racer, Slim Shady, Broads, Demon Boost, Michael Seal, Tom Marzella, and Dave Ross to round out your 20 cars here, heading into the 15-minute race number 1 here around Kyalami. This is going to be absolutely fantastic.
It really is, and we're not too far away from this first race, and from what we've seen so far in qualifying, it looks like we're going to have quite a battle on our hands. We're going to have to take a look at Rees and Matty at the front and see how they're going to go along, but do not discount anyone behind them because it is still all to play for, especially considering it's the last round of the championship. Championships can be won or made in this race.
Yeah, so just to give you a quick update and how the championship is running at the moment while we have the 2.5 minutes before we get underway. So Stephen Rees is leading and on course for another Fargone Racing championship here in the GT Challenge. He has 1,617 points. He is a mere, I believe it's about 60 points, give or take. 1,557 points for Andrew Long. So he's in second. Justin Griffin's in third on 1,400 points. A win worth 300 points, but I don't know because the point system, I think, could be different here in a super sprint, so you never really know. That is the one thing with changing formats. It's the one thing that I don't think anybody has ever been able to figure out, including people in the chat, when I've done this series, and it comes down to a championship decider. But all I know is that Longy is not that far away, and so he could go for the championship back-to-back here, but Stephen Rees is in prime position to try and take this one home.
He absolutely is, and, well, the championship is close. Qualifying's been close. What do we think is going to happen in this race? I think we're going to have quite the race to the checkered flag. It's only a 15-minute race, but 15 minutes is plenty of stuff to happen.
Yeah, it is, and I think that you'll see in a 15-minute race that there's a lot more opening carnage, so that is definitely going to be a big factor. We've seen Steve-O and Matty come to blows with each other in the past. I think my mind casts back to a Valencia round. I think it was a season or 2 ago, but they had a big crash at turn 1 and actually had to restart the race because it collected the entire field almost, which was a bit catastrophic. But usually these two very respectful. Everybody here in Fargone is highly respectful when wheel to wheel. So I don't think we'll see too many come to blows, but I think with the pressure and the environment surrounding a final round, 15-minute races, it could come to a head here, especially heading into turn 1 at Kyalami. It's such a pinch point. It goes from 3 or 4 wide onto the apex where there's just no space, and normally incidents can come together. But I think what we'll see off the line is that Steve-O might get a little bit of a gap from Matty because that turbo on the Aston has to spool up a little bit, so Steve-O should get the jump off the line, but then Matty will come back in that later stage of the acceleration.
Yeah, and going back to, well, the real braking zone is turn 2. You've got the kink, which is really considered turn 1, but that apex at turn 2 is a lot more tighter than you think. So expect quite a few people to maybe overshoot it as well, trying to make up that extra position or two while the field is still bunched together as well.
Yeah, and when I was saying turn 1, that's what I meant. I always forget that the kink is turn 1. It's more of a 15-corner circuit if you ask me, but this is how it goes. It's like turn 2 at Austria. But anyway, so here we are for the first race of the final round of season 22. It's Steve-O alongside Matty on the front row, then Justin Griffin and Andrew Long on the second row. Then you have Hoggy and James Parker. But on that note, the green flags are ready to fly. The green lights are ready to illuminate here for race number 1. And we are going to be moments away from racing action, and we're underway for racing action here. And Steve-O does get the jump off the line. Matty dropping back, but this is where the Aston can claw it back. So Matty now on the outside line heading in towards turn 1. Justin Griffin and Andrew Long also go side by side. Matty trying it the long way round, can't make it work. Meanwhile, Justin Griffin defending the inside now. Justin has the outside on Matty, but can't make it work. Will they go down the inside of Barbecue at turn 5? They will, and they touch. It's Matty half spun. She keeps it together. Justin Griffin is now under pressure from Hoggy as they head down the hill and in towards Sunset Corner, as Justin Griffin back up the inside of the Ferrari as they go wheel to wheel, and he gets the move done. There's a little bit of wheel rubbing. Justin Griffin absolutely taking no prisoners at the moment, as Andrew Long is also wheel to wheel with the Lexus of James Parker. They are now single file. Meanwhile, it's Eden Nick under pressure from Lee Perkins as they head down the hill and in towards the hairpin. So this is going to be a critical pressure point here, but that little incident between Matty and Justin Griffin has allowed Stephen Rees to eke out a gap. He is now 1.6 seconds clear of Matty, and Matty will not be happy with that moment.
No, she will not be. Give her props though, that was an excellent save. I feel like a lot of people probably would lose it at that point, but she held her nerve, she gathered it all back up, hasn't lost any positions, but as you say, has lost a handful of time, but has also been gaining that time back as we've been speaking. That gap is now down to 1.4 seconds. So maybe a little bit of red mist has descended for Matty, trying to get that position back. It looks like that she may have been on to try and line up a move. Didn't end up happening with the contact from the back before. And at the braking zone of turn 2, I also took note of Perko, who's currently sitting in 8th position in his BMW. Nearly had a collision there, trying to make it 3 wide down the inside, had to back out of it, and that could have been disastrous for everyone else behind.
Yeah, Lee Perkins is known for an aggressive move, and speaking of aggressive moves, that was Speed Racer trying to look up the inside of Bartoletti. And yeah, Perkins is one to just send it up the inside, make it 3 wide, potentially where it's not ideal to be, but he normally gets away fairly scot-free, doesn't have any major incidents. But now MJ putting the screws on to Speed Racer as they head in towards turn 6, but the Ferrari not going to go for it down the inside just yet. Stephen Rees currently sitting 1.2 seconds ahead of Matty as they head down the hill and in towards turn 8 through the S's section. So this is critical for Stephen Rees to keep Matty at bay, but Matty looks fast. She might not have gotten pole position, but throughout the practice she was quicker, and that Aston Martin is kinder on its tyres. However, that slide is not going to help her case for the entire night, and that is something that could be detrimental heading further and further in. That little slide from that contact could end up damaging her tyres quite significantly. MJ at the moment on the back of Speed Racer as they head in towards turn 12 and in towards turn 13. So through the mine shaft they go, and now towards Crocodiles as they head into the braking zone. MJ not going to quite go for it, but he is being pushed by James Alexandra at the moment as well as they head through and now up the hill and towards turn number 15. It's really tricky, but here we go. We end the second lap, and Stephen Rees still sitting 1.1 seconds clear.
Yeah, that gap ever closing, now less than a second between first and second. So expect in a couple of laps' time to see a very good battle for the lead as we now take a look here at Eden Nick in his Mustang. He is sitting behind Parker in the Lexus. That Lexus, what an absolutely beautiful looking car. It's got a bit of power behind it as well, so that will definitely help it down the straights. A bit draggy though, the Lexus, and it can sometimes hamper its top line speed, but the Mustang big V8 engine in it. It's got the Coyote, it's got raw American power, and that thing will be hounding down the straight. So expect him to be looking to get some moves done down at turn 2. That's going to be his prime opportunity to make any moves, but he's also being hounded by Perkins. As that looks like it was Parker who's gone wide, he's gone onto the grass. This could ruin his tyres just for a couple of corners here, as he has to clean off the dust and debris off of them. And going through here, that's definitely not going to help his chances. But Perkins now all over the rear of Eden Nick here, and could he be looking to try and get a move down the inside?
Yeah, he could be looking for it, but it's just a little bit too far back heading into this hairpin now, turn 10, and then through turn 11 on the exit. So just a little bit too far back for now, but he'll definitely be eyeing it up, taking notes where he's fast, where he's slow. And meanwhile, MJ is going at it now with James Alexandra. They go wheel to wheel through turn 12 and now into the heavy braking zone. The Mustang on the outside line. Now he tries to cut back underneath. He nails the apex, but MJ just carries better minimum speed and keeps himself in this one at the moment. MJ just trying to defend Tobasire as well in the background of this battle, and that's a big snap there from MJ. Alexandra's up the inside at the final corner and gets the move done, so that small mistake from MJ has invited James up the inside, but now MJ is going to try and fight this one back. Alexandra defends to the inside. MJ's going to follow to try and get the slipstream. Here comes Tobasire now as they head in towards the turn 2 braking zone. Tobasire on the outside line. He's trying to sweep through. There's almost contact at the apex. Tobasire has to back out of it. Now here comes Tim Bradley as they go side by side as they head up the hill. It's almost a carbon copy repeat of what happened between Griffin and Tobasire, but without the contact through turn 5. That's some fantastic racing here further down the field, and all the while Justin Griffin under pressure from Hoggy, and Matty is now within 5/10 of Stephen Rees.
This move could be coming on a little bit sooner than first anticipated, but there's only 9 minutes left, so the time is ticking if Matty wants to try and get this battle underway. The Aston is looking absolutely mighty, and for Rees here in his mirrors, all he's going to be seeing is a bright yellow or green, whatever color it is. It's going to be a very bright colored Aston Martin in his rear view mirror, and that is not in itself going to be distracting, but if she's able to flash the lights, that could also throw a little bit of a curveball for Rees here as the gap continues to climb down. It is just about the tick under 0.5 of a second. All they have to do now is just make 0 mistakes as he runs a little bit wide through there. That was Cheetah that he ran slightly wide around the last corner as he goes onto the straight to start one more lap.
Yeah, so Steve-O had a micro mistake, but Matty had a big slide through turn 13, and in the background as well, Justin Griffin is under some pressure from Hoggy as they head through the kink and in towards the braking zone. Hoggy's not going to go for a late braking maneuver here, a little bit too far back, and Hoggy isn't the most elbows out driver that this world has ever seen, so he won't go for it. But who might go for it now is Bartoletti, a speed racer sitting in front of Lexus, and it is late on the brakes from the McLaren. That's really aggressive. There's nearly contact at the apex between the two of them, and Bartoletti not able to get to place despite the daring late braking effort. Meanwhile as well, the fight's still going on here down in P12. And MJ is right on the back of James, and Tobasire looking as well in the background. But MJ has a fantastic run off of turn 5 and in towards Sunset. Are they going to go for it? No, not quite. But this 15-minute race here is being absolutely fantastic at the moment. There's still 7.5 minutes to go in this one, and no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And we're now taking a look here because he had to slide all the way out to the exit there. He's hounding the back of that Mustang. Come to straight though, the Mustang may just pull that little bit of extra ahead that he needs to get himself safe. But here comes the Ferrari now side by side as they come up into turn 10. Down the inside goes the Mustang to try and defend his position. Can the switchback get formed here by MJ? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it done. Is he going to be able to use the run down into the next set of corners? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to hold on to it here. And the gap out in front, still half a second. But the battle continues here on screen, and the battle is continuing out at front.
Yep, so Stephen Rees is going to be potentially forced to defend here. Matty only 0.3 away as the Aston Martin screeches up to the back of the Porsche as they head into turn 2. Matty throws the dummy. Stephen Rees, none the wiser though, isn't going to fall for that one, as I think we might have somebody else here in the commentary box. I don't know if he's here to get involved, but Chris Munro, you're here. Are you here to join us?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcoming myself into the commentary box again, just fresh out of the GT3 Challenge over there at Aussie Sim Racing. But let's join the action here, because Maddie is right up the arse of Steve Reese as well, sniffing that rear wing like she's been in that position so many times, and vice versa too. These are the two speedy customers here at Fargone Racing. What have I missed so far? It's only, 5 minutes to go in this race. So fill me in on all the juicy details.
Well, at the moment, 15-minute race here for race number 1. It's a super sprint format here tonight, Chris. So we've got a 15-minute, an 18-minute, then a 25-minute to end out the night. So you haven't missed too much in the grand scheme of things, just a few really close battles. Andrew Long, 60 points away from Stephen Reese, who leads the championship, but he's down in 5th at the moment. So he's going to have to pull out some masterclass driving to put himself back into this one, heading into race 2 and race 3.
Yeah, well, we've seen that in the past as well. Longy, don't count him out, ladies and gentlemen, at home. Where is he sitting there on the timing tower? In 5th. So he's got, about 1.6 seconds up the road to Josh Griffin, I believe. Hoggy there in 3rd as well. But how's things in the second night out, Peter, in the Fargone commentary box this time?
Yeah, it's going really well. First time watching this series, and what a way to do it as well for their season finale. It's a very close championship, as was just spoken about. And so far, we've had a insanely close qualifying, 600ths of a second separating pole position and second place. And that went in the way of Rees. Maddie just missing out on that pole position. She had a little bit of contact out on the first lap, which dropped her back about 1.5 seconds, and she's clawed her way back within half a second. Has already had one little look at taking the lead, but maybe playing the long game here and setting herself up just for maximum points this race weekend.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to do it, exactly. She knows that she's only got one position to overtake here to get that P1, so probably happy to just sit in the slipstream and show the nose and fill up the mirrors of Stephen Rees there in front, just to let him know that she's there and will obviously take advantage of any kind of mistake that comes falling into her lap. But down here we've got Racer. He's got Bartoletti behind him, just giving him the hurry up there in the McLaren too, just up to the top of the hill here at
Oh,
Kyalami.
no!
Big loss there from Bartoletti in the McLaren. Managed to gather it up, mind you, and back out on the circuit. Probably only lost a couple of seconds in that. Could have been a hell of a lot worse, Lindsay.
Yep, that was really, really tricky there for Bartoletti. We already saw him get his elbows out heading in towards turn 1 earlier on. Just wasn't able to get it done, but not afraid of a late braking maneuver, I think, is what we're identifying about Bartoletti at the moment. And he tried it just a little bit too aggressive heading in towards turn 10. And now he's nearly gone again there on the exit of turn 13. So he's really testing himself at the moment. Meanwhile, back up the front, it's on as they head in towards turn 1. Maddie showing the nose here on Stephen Reese, and they were nearly wheel to wheel. Maddie was only a sheer 10th away heading into the braking zone, as Stephen Reese still holding on for the moment, but Maddie is not playing around here with 2.5 just over minutes to go.
Yeah, there is very little time left, so she needs to try and make her move pretty much now. You know, there's only going to be a lap or two remaining based off the current pace that the front runners are using, and looking all over the back of that Aston Martin, probably can start reading the part numbers on that rear bar. And, you know, it's only going to be a matter of time. I feel like we're going to see a proper big lunge from Maddie. Will it be cleaned? Will she get it done? It's all going to be time, in time telling that we're going to find out, as looking very racy coming up into this hairpin. And maybe, just maybe, it's going to be turn 2. It's going to be the hairpin. She's showing the nose absolutely everywhere, isn't she?
Oh yes, certainly doing that. The gap's only 2/10. Sorry, you caught me napping there, Peter. But coming down into, I think this is the Crocodiles or Cheetah. I'm trying to get the track map up. There's an absolutely beautiful South African turn names here down at Kyalami. I'll tell you what, it's very hard to stop doing the South African accent when we're going around here.
It's actually not a bad one, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not a bad one at all. I tell you what, back in the day, I dated a South African girl, probably for about 6 months longer than I should have, just to get used to her dad's South African accent. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's some toxic behaviour there from Chris Munro here in the commentary box. But, yeah, absolutely. I just really needed to. I really needed to nail that accent. You know what I'm talking about. But here we go. Maddie on the back here of Stephen Rees. Possibly the last lap if we're going to...
It is
We've
last
got a
lap.
+1. This is the definite last lap. So on board with Maddie. Now we go through Sunset now for the very last time. It's a hell of a corner in the GT3s. You can absolutely glance it with all that downforce up through the left-hand. And now she's just trying to get that Aston Martin planted as they go through the downhill section now. But Stephen Rees, a very tricky customer to get the overtake done. Bit of a snap there too from Maddie. That's going to hurt her pace a little bit, but 3/10 is still the difference. Up to the top of the hill into the very heavy braking zone here and back down the hill again. Stephen Rees doing a great job of holding him off, but will he be able to do it to the end? Only a few corners remaining.
Yes, Stephen Rees should be home free here. Maddie flashing the lights, just trying to distract Steve-O in any way possible, but he's not going to nudge here as they head in towards the Crocodiles corner now, and then up the hill through turn 14 and into turn 15. If he doesn't hit that inside curb, he should be home free. Maddie, though, really close, heading towards the final corner, but she's just going to fall up short here in race number 1. So Stephen Rees, it's going to be close. Stephen Rees, though, just about holds on. It's nearly a repeat of Zandvoort, where he had a poor last corner and lost it at the death of it. Maddie just about loses out here in race number 1 by 1/10.5. And that was absolutely fantastic racing between the two of them. And that is only the first of 3 races here tonight.
I love that we've got 3 sprint races to finish. It's the best way to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. It keeps them tight. It keeps them desperate. And the red mist may just descend in these next couple of races, Pete.
Absolutely. I mean, if just going, I can't keep referring back to qualifying. 600ths of a second, and now in the first race, the win was separated by only 1/10.5. If that's not a bit of a hint to what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the race weekend, especially with, as a reminder, only 2 sets of tyres for the entire race weekend. So tyre wear is definitely going to start becoming a factor. So expect more mistakes, more variation in times with split strategies as the tyres come in. We could see some really big movers and also some really big losers if they get their strategy wrong. Isn't that right, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think so. I think that especially qualifying, that'll be the big tell. Most people should be on a new set for qualifying, but a few people elect to use their race 1 tyre for race 2 quali and then put on the new tyre for race 2, race 3 quali, and then race 3. There's so much split strategy, so many different options here when you're limited to 2 very quickly wearing sets of tyres over the course of 3 races, especially now with the new and improved way of doing these super sprints where the races get longer as the night goes on. It's really testing these drivers, and I think that we'll just see that develop slowly over the rest of the night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We've got a couple more races to go. It's going to be... are we doing some kind of reverse grid options, or are we starting from where we left off, or is
Another
there
qualifying.
Another qualifying session?
3 5-minute qualifying sessions.
Yeah, right. So that's going to be like a 2-lap dash, basically, around in these things. That'll be interesting. That's good. That really filters down the pressure from the top down, and we'll see who can hold their heads out there as well. So coming up shortly, ladies and gentlemen, race qualifying 2, a 5-minute affair. Who's going to take the chockies? Stephen Rees or Maddie, or will someone come from down the pack? We've got Andrew Long down there. I know he's a speedy customer. Eden Nick, if he hasn't eaten too much, he might be a bit light on the ballast department, and he might be able to take the chockies as well if he doesn't eat them first. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live, I think, for qualifying.
We have a small break. So
small break.
Yeah,
All right.
So we get a little breather here in the commentary box. So
Excellent.
Peter, Chris and I will be back in a couple of moments' time as we head towards qualifying 2 and race number 2.
Simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for race number 2 and qualifying number 2, which has just kicked off. So the drivers have 5 minutes to get back out onto the circuit and get a lap time laid out. So Stephen Rees took pole position in a very small margin against Maddie in qualifying 1. Can Maddie now strike back and take pole for race number 2? That is what we're here to find out. So they are underway, they're on the outlaps, and this is where the pressure begins to build.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Reese's found himself a little bit of traffic there as well, just to start out with. So I don't know if he's in the optimal position to really throw that pole position out there. But it all comes down to track management and gap management in these very small and tight qualifying sessions, Pete. it's all a matter of trying to find a little bit of clear air and then make the most of it when it appears.
Yeah, absolutely. And none other is Maddie in front of him as well. So is this going to be maybe a little bit of a mental war as well between the two? So far, they have been night and day clear of the rest of the field. There was half a second between second and third. So will we see the same thing going here? It looks like Maddie is just backing off a little bit to try and let that BMW go away down the track just a little bit further as they try and get these tyres into a good window. That's going to be really important because with all of the fast sweepers, big braking zones, the last thing you want is a small lock. Even though these cars do have ABS, it's not out of the question that it's possible to lock up a brake, and even with the traction control as well. You know, sliding is only going to kill these tyres, and you don't have many of them, do you, Lindsay?
No, you really don't. Only 2 sets, and we'll continue dragging that out for the rest of the night because it's definitely a need-to-know piece of information. But they have 1 lap to get their tyres up to temp, then they have to go, then their tyres will get fully into the window, and then the second lap is time where they need to absolutely get the lap together. So we'll see what Maddie can muster up here in the first lap of qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go on board and let's go a hot lap of Kyalami, ladies and gentlemen, as you dive into turn 1 or into turn 2. It's Crawthorne, as you say, up through turns 3 and 4, and then into barbecue. You've just got to point the front end in there and get it all squirted out the other side as you head off down towards sunset. And this is why it's called, well, you can't see it now, but in the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the sun is setting on that hill in the distance there, and that is why it's called sunset, because you get a full sun in your eyes. But this is Clubhouse, ladies and gentlemen, through turn 7. It's an off-camber little adventure. As a little bit of oversteer there as well from Maddie, dipping down through the S's, and this is the most fun part of the circuit, I find. Just hit the throttle there and just hope for the grip, as she did. Oh no, she's gone off the circuit. Is that invalid? Lindsay Muddle, he's just popped into my ear, and that might just be it for Maddie, at least on this banker lap at the top of the hill. Let's ride on board in the Porsche, because this is a valid lap as he comes down the hill from Leah Cook into turn 12, which is Mineshaft, and then the very difficult turn here of the Crocodiles, where you're trying to brake in a straight line, but the track is not straight, and you've got to dip it in. It's off camber, and it's very hard to get on the accelerator. Now through this beautiful little section here of Cheetah, where you chuck it in, trust the front end grip, run it as wide as the track will permit into turn 16, Ingve, and get the power down, because the engine's in the rear. The Porsche has plenty of traction out of that one, and he will cross the line for a 141.2. That's pole position provisionally there for Stephen Rees. What can Maddie return serve with now that she has a second bite at the cherry?
Yeah, that is the big...
Well,
oh, sorry. No, you go. You go.
No, it's all good. Yeah, look... Well, as I mentioned before, it's a mental game as much as it is on track performances, and you could only imagine that's now added a much more amount of pressure for Maddie here, because it's now 1 lap. That's all she gets. She's got 1 lap, taken the wear out of the tyres. At least now it's a guarantee that those tyres are going to be up to temperature. There's sometimes it can be a bit hard to get tyres up to that optimum window with one just warm-up lap. Sometimes you see in real life race car teams and drivers opting for 2 warm-up laps, 2 cool-down laps. So this is essentially what she's done to herself, but now the pressure's on for 1 lap dash. That's all she's got to try and get a pole position. And are we going to see it as close as we did last time? The next 5 seconds and the remaining laps will only tell that story.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, at the moment, Maddie going fairly quickly around there. Don't have an exact delta, but I can just I can see it on my little timing where she is at the lap in comparison to Stephen Rees. It's very similar to his fastest lap. Currently, Stevo is about 2-3 tenths down, so I think he's done in this qualifying session. Maddie at the moment is heading towards the final corner. Justin Griffin now takes provisional pole position, 800ths clear of Stephen Rees. Now what does Maddie have to respond with in her final lap of this qualifying session? As she crosses the line, it's to the top of the timing tower. 2 tenths clear of Justin Griffin with a 1 minute 40.962. And we can already see the effect of the tyre wear, because these lap times are all slower than the first qualifying session of the night, and Maddie takes it with a 40.962, and that was absolutely fantastic driving throughout that lap. And Stephen Rees now starting in third. That's a buffer between Maddie and Stevo, but Justin Griffin and Maddie got intertwined and tangled up on lap 1 of the last race. So could there be a bit of bad blood between the two of them?
No, I tell you what, hopefully not. It's going to hopefully be a clean start between everyone on the grid. But I'll tell you what, I have wished for more ambitious things in my life, and I haven't got those either. Hopefully, we see just clean racing all up and down the grid. But I'll tell you what, a one-car buffer between Maddie and Rees is just what the doctor ordered with that number 4 Aston Martin of Maddie. I'll tell you what, all she needs is maybe half a lap where the Rees is stuck behind Justin Griffin there as well to maybe just stretch the legs of that Aston Martin and get out to maybe a 1 or 2 second lead. And then it's all up to Rees to try and reel her in for the rest of the race. But I'll tell you what, from when I chimed in that last stanza, last 5 minutes of race 1, it looked like Maddie did have the pace anyway. And it was just Rees just kind of holding her at bay. So let's see how that plays out in the real world. I think it is a 10-minute sprint coming up.
18-minute sprint ahead of us.
18-minute sprint. There was
15, 18, 25.
Let the viewers know I don't have my glasses on, so 8s and 0s pretty much are the same number in my eyes.
Are you sure it's glasses or the beverages in front of you?
Those both.
Well, there we go. That's
I'm putting my glasses on now. Hang on, here you go. I can see a lot better. I'm still drunk though.
There we go. So, yeah, that is the Sensational TV commentary box, isn't it? It's absolutely packed full of beverages, and I'll tell you what, Zach O'Reilly, Chris Munro, they absolutely get amongst it, and when Rabs makes his appearances as well.
Yeah, he jumped in tonight, actually. It was quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, when he goes hard. So that is all you need to know about the Sensational commentary box. Don't ask about the state of it. There might be piles of boxes behind us. You never quite know. But Maddie taking pole by a very comfortable margin compared to the margin that she had in qualifying. Well, in the margin to Stephen Rees that she had in the first qualifying, where Steve took it by 0.06 of a second. We have a minute and a half until we're going again. But I'll tell you what, Maddie is loving life in that wildcard entry. Normally in the Bentley, changes to the Aston, goes P2 in qualifying in Quali 1, P2 in the race. Now she's on pole position for race number 2.
Yeah, look, if anything, it looks like it could be her race this time around. I don't want to pull off any commentators' curse on this one, but she definitely had the pace over Rees in that last one. It could have been a simple case of she got a little bit of a punt from the rear, lost a bit of time, and she was absolutely hungry to devour that P1. And unfortunately for her, Rees was doing pretty well. The defending was able to put his Porsche exactly where it needed to be to stop the Aston Martin from getting through. This time around, as we've said, there's that one car buffer, which means before Steve-O here has a chance to try and go for the lead, he has to get by the McLaren of Griffin as well, which is honestly, this is going to be a fascinating race to watch. There's a lot on the line championship-wise, but really, final race weekend of the season, everyone's just going for glory in this one. It's all about the bragging rights going into the off-season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, bragging rights, it's a hard thing to come by here at Fargone because it's just a ping-pong match between Maddie and Stephen Rees. So I'm looking forward to who gets the final bite of the cherry, or the final, I don't know, what do you call a serve in ping-pong? An ace. Who gets the final ace here at Fargone Racing's finale here at round 8? I don't know when the next one will go, if it'll go to 2026. I'm not too sure, Lindsay, if you...
Normally only takes a few weeks, but you never know with Christmas coming up.
Yeah, that's right. There might be a little bit of a Christmas classic, and anyone can get involved. But we are now rounding the final turn of Kyalami, and these guys are going to line up 2 by 2, and we are going to get ready for a start.
Yep, so here we go then, as it's Maddie on the front row, but this time alongside Justin Griffin as they head in towards the kink. So the green flags ready to fly. The green lights have illuminated here, and we're underway for racing action. And once again, Maddie bogging down off the start. The turbo of the Aston not doing her any favours. Griffin takes the lead, and now Stephen Reese is pressuring in towards turn 2. Stephen Reese showing the nose on the inside of Maddie. Maddie is forced defensive, but now she has a fantastic run. Justin Griffin's gone wide, and Maddie retakes the lead. Meanwhile, Longy is going at it. Now Stephen Reese is on the inside of turn 5. Up the inside of Justin Griffin. Not able to get it done, but through the exit, Griffin still losing time. Maddie's absolutely checked out of this one as they head in towards Sunset, and Stephen Reese struggling to get amongst it here, and now Longy's back up the inside of Sunset as they go wheel to wheel. The BMW trying to take the place as they now head in towards turn 7. This is going to be absolutely fantastic racing between the two of them. Now here comes Hoggy on the inside of Andrew Long as they head down the hill. Lee Perkins as well going side by side in the background with one of the Fords. It's Eda Nick as they go side by side in towards the hairpin. The BMW keeping his nose in, and we know Lee Perkins, he's not afraid of a move up the inside. He goes down the inside at turn 10 here, and he sneaks up the inside, pulls a fast one, a little bit of wheel rubbing on the exit. Eda Nick losing out the place. Meanwhile, Stephen Reese on the back of Justin Griffin, but still losing out a bit of time here as we round the final stages of lap 1. And now Stephen Reese is in the reverse position to what he was at the beginning of race 1. He is now the chaser, and he's got a car in between them.
Now, I tell you what, not the ideal start that Stephen Reese had in his mind there. Wanted to be a bit closer there and possibly get
Oh,
the
no.
jump. Oh, Griffin, but there's been contact there with the Peter Jackson car and the McLaren. He goes off the circuit, but manages to gather it up and get back on. Only loses a few positions out of it. Could have been a lot worse there, and manages to claw it back. Tobasaya sitting there in P10, but not the best exit, so will be vulnerable there from Demon Boost, and Bradley and co chiming in from behind. Goes defensive down there into turn 1. That's probably what you need to do, just try and consolidate that. But further up the grid, we've got Racer going around the outside. There's been a jostling for positions in the background there as well. But down here, it's who's that? Broads. We've got Tobasaya, all of them. Just an absolute gaggle of cars down here from about 12th down to 17th. And take your pick whether these guys are going to get through the next few turns safely. Who knows? That's something only the Oracle can tell, but we got our eyes on Slim Shady. Let's see if he can do some round the outside Trailer Park Girls style moves coming up very shortly.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I was like...
Tell us what you want.
Sorry, caught me off guard there. I was staring at the notes, as now it looks like the McLaren is all over the shot, and that now facing the wrong way, trying to keep the power down on the grass. There's no grip on the grass, as any racer will tell you. Anyone in the motorsport world will say the black stuff is way grippier, and staying on that will be paramount. Unable to do that one there, though, as the battle continues in this mid-pack, and it is down the inside of for the Lexus there, and Tobasaya will lose another position here in that Mustang. He had the incident just here a lap ago where he ran wide after getting a bit of a door knock from another
it's
car,
slow
and
for Alexandra.
That's in the fence. Which one's that?
It's James Alexandra slow in the background and off into the wall. Let's grab a replay of that while we have, I don't know, probably 5 seconds. So... Here we go. It's all going off in the mid-pack. He looks like he's in no man's land. He doesn't have a worry in the world. I'll bet you any money, though, that he either runs wide or hits the inside curb. And is it? It's the inside curb. Yep, there you go. And then the car bounces like a handball. And, he hits Parker on the way through as well for good measure. And that is absolutely disastrous there as he tries to get the car back going. That's a very dismembered Ford Mustang here as the replay ends, and now we head back into this one. Right into the thick of it here as Tim Bradley is on the outside of MJ and sweeps through in the McLaren as well. Demon Boost in a fight here with the underwater mammal here, Michael Seal, going at it at the moment. I believe this might be his debut race in the series here on the final round. So even though he's down the back, he's still in a good battle here and just getting acclimatized.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen him out, I think the last time we saw was in the Interclub Championships there on Assetto Corsa. So there's a bit of jostling up there with MJ and T. Bradley as well. Bradley just getting the better of it for now. MJ going, hee, sitting behind, looking for a pun to do with Michael Jackson just doesn't roll off the tongue this time. But ladies and gentlemen, we got time to think about that as they head up the hill now, looking into the right-hander. And look at that Peter Jackson car of the Mustang just heading up beside the Lexus as well. Who's that? Rhodes in the Honda. No, that's not a Honda. That's a Lexus. That's Parker.
James Parker. There you go.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, just learning the drivers here as well. But that's a big mistake there from the Lexus driver. That will let Tobisaya up the inside in the Ford Mustang. They will go side by side down into turn 1 and 2 into the braking zone. Who's going to get the better of that, Pete? We're going to see that in real time right now.
Yeah, down the inside goes the Mustang, the Peter Jackson livery Mustang. Beautiful looking car it is. And is he going to be able to get this move completed? It doesn't look as so. And because the track swings the other way, the Lexus is going to get the better of him and stays ahead for now. But this battle we've seen for the last few laps has been brewing and brewing. And eventually it's going to reach a boiling point, but as for now, it is still good, hard racing. We've only seen the one incident, which was an unforced error from the other Mustang there, which is still in the lane getting repairs completed. But for MJ here, he was on the attack of the Mustang. He's now in defense to a Ferrari, and sorry, the Ferrari is MJ. I'm getting myself confused here.
It's very hard. He's
Yeah.
got a,
The bottom right
BMW
shows the live
behind
name.
him. Yeah. There you go.
But either way, the battle is going to continue with the Ferrari going down the inside. Not going to be able to get it done there. A little bit too far back. Up ahead, though, we haven't really spoken too much of Maddie because she has been in a league of her own. 2.8 seconds clear in the lead. This one car buffer that we was talking about before the start of the race has proved pivotal because Griffin has done really well here to hold on to his own here in second position. He did hold on to the lead very momentarily on the opening laps, fallen into that second position, and is still holding it with Reese behind as he goes down the inside. Very late braking maneuver. Is he able to get it stopped? He can get it stopped. Is there going to be a switchback on offer for the McLaren? No, there isn't. Reese now finally gets himself up into second position with 10 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. Is that enough time for him to try and really now over 3 seconds to get the lead?
Yeah, that is the big question. We know Steve-O has the pace, but Matty was faster in race 1. It now comes down to the tyre, and if I had to hazard a guess, based off what we've seen, it took Steve-O so long to get past Justin Griffin, you might hazard that he might be on a little bit of a used set of tyres compared to Matty, but also Matty has been quicker all night. Even though she didn't get pole, it was from a mistake. Stephen Reese only got it by 600ths despite that mistake. So definitely he's putting himself under a bit of pressure here. Not a lot of time, quite a lot of time to close. So yeah, Steve-O's got to get his head down and start closing. But we've seen stranger things happen, and Matty was able to close a 1.6 second gap in race number 1. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Andrew Long is going out. Andrew Long's defending Hoggy at the moment as they head in towards turn 13. But still nothing really doing at the moment between these two. And these two have been locked at the hip since I started commentating in season 13. So, not season 13, season 18. I'm all over the place here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all are here in the commentary box. But yeah, these two battle every single season. And this race takes me back because the first race I ever commentated for the Fargone racing series, it was Kyalami. So seeing all these drivers battle it out again, locked hip and shoulder, the same exact people going wheel to wheel at the same places. It's absolutely fantastic to see. And they're all developing with each other because I'll tell you what, Andrew Long and Hoggy, they have gotten quicker as the seasons have gone by.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. If we can get it on board before we go, or when we go through sunset, I'd love to see, because I think the sun is setting. I just want to see if my previous comment is correct, where you do get the sun. I think it has just dipped behind the mountain there, so we missed it by a couple of minutes, but that's okay. Next time you're in the sim, just set it to like 5 p.m. and have a little bit of a dip around there, because you'll get the sun in your eyes as you go through there. But riding on board with Hoggy, you can see the what is it, the BMW there of Andrew Long in front. I'll tell you what, it's sheer driving pleasure driving that thing in ACC. It's one of the nicest cars they have ever built in that sim. It's absolutely planted in every part of every track. You get a little bit of understeer here and there, but it's absolutely a pleasure. Oh, a sheer driving pleasure. I'm going to say it twice there for the for the driving clip. And I'm about to sneeze, so I'm going to hand it over to somebody else. Pete, take it away.
Yeah, thank you there. It's the Ferrari now taking the look at the rear of the BMW. As you said, this BMW is really, really good to drive, but at the moment, it is all over the shop. We saw on the onboard from the Ferrari of Hoggy that it had a bit of a tail wag going on in a few of those faster corners and dipped its wheel into the grass a couple of times in the few last shots as well. So it looks like it is 100% defense mode for Andrew Long here, and it is all about attack in the Ferrari. It's a red Ferrari attacking the BMW. What more could you want in a GT3 race?
Yeah, and that's absolutely the question.
Yes.
Oh, what more could you want?
That's it. Oh, yes, the South African red Ferrari. It's the best way to go about your racing here when you get down here in the South Africa. I tell you what, you've got the BMW in front. It's all these titi-toiti kind of the Eastern guys here in South Africa. They got these BMWs, but I tell you what, the real Southers, they drive a Ferrari. And I will go back to my little South African box back down here, and I'll let Lindsay Muddle take over the commentary box.
Thank you. As here we go. It could be wheel to wheel between the two of them. The Ferrari trying the outside line. Hoggy alongside Longy as they head down the hill. And now through turn 11, it's Ferrari on BMW action here as they head down towards Mineshaft. This is really close between the two of them as it's almost contact there as they head into the Crocodiles. Is it going to be down the inside now? Here from Hoggy, he is going to go for it. He's on the apex. He's wheel to wheel with the BMW. He's inching forward and inching ahead. But now Andrew Long gets the better exit. Now he's trying the outside. It's wheel to wheel through turn 15 and now in towards the final corner. The Ferrari gets it done in a spectacular fashion. Longy has to back out of that one, and that was a fantastic move. But it's not done yet though. Andrew Long looking in the slipstream to go up the inside of turn 2. So as they head through the kink, the BMW on the re-pressure counter-attack here as they head in towards the turn 2 braking zone. It's side by side, but it looks like Hoggy is just going to hold on to the place after that fantastic bit of racing, and that is absolutely what it's all about here in the GT Challenge. That was absolutely sensational. Oh, that's a slide!
Hey, there you go. They're going in hard and fast here at the time being. We've got to get that out of the accent here because apparently I'm slipping into New York Italian. So you got to give me a cup of coffee, I'll tell you what. But look at this. Hoggy giving right up on the rear quarter panel here. Maybe even a little bit of bumping and shoving there. Just a Shane Van Gisbergen style. Showing the nose down through the S's here. Oh, a little bit of sideways action too from the Ferrari, just trying to keep in touch with Andrew Long, and all he needs to do is just stay there for as long as he can and wait for the mistake to come. But I'll tell you what, I have been, I've had the pleasure of battling Andrew Long in the in times past in the old sim racing department, and you cannot hang your hat on the fact that he might make a mistake because this man is as consistent as they get out here in the Simland. So Hoggy's got his hands full, and I'll tell you what, the longer that these guys battle on, you can see in the background there, Perko just chiming in the number 55 BMW, and behind him, Eden Nick as well, chiming in not too far away. So this could be a little 4-car speed battle coming up to the very end of this couple of laps.
Yeah, and it's going to be very exciting, these few last laps. Just a quick mention back to the lead. It's now over 4 seconds, so Reese has not been able to make an attack for the lead. So it looks like if all goes well, Maddie will take this one. But there's still 4 minutes left to go, so plenty of chances for something to possibly happen. And we'll keep our focus here on this battle because you can pretty much say now that Perko is 100% within this battle. If any one of these guys makes a mistake, he's there to pounce, and he is going to be there to take any of the scraps left on the table between the two of them in front of them. And those two cars in front are definitely starting to look a little bit more unstable. The rear ends are starting to get a little bit more looser on the cars. They're starting to make, you said, Chris, he doesn't make too many mistakes, but he is dipping a wheel into the grass here and there, trying to maximize every single millimeter of this circuit. A very well-paved circuit, actually. It's very high grip, but if your tires do start to go off, it will cause lots of understeer, lots of oversteer, and no matter how good your traction control is in this thing, it's just going to become quite the handful down the hill now, heading into the mine shaft, into Crocodiles will be the next section of corners, and it looks like a move could be on pretty soon, but maybe just biding his time, waiting towards the end to not allow Long to maybe try and get a shot back at him.
Yeah, as they continue to go at this one in this 3-car battle as well. Further down, though, Dave Ross is wheel to wheel with, I don't think that's Tim Bradley, I think that's Bartoletti at the moment as they go side by side down through turn 12. Now in towards turn 13. Bartoletti trying to fight this one back. Dave Ross defending, but it's not going to be enough to the inside. It's forced to the inside. Late on the brakes from Bartoletti. We've seen he has late braking tendencies. He continues to show up here in the overtaking department with an absolutely sensational overtake down the inside. Late as you dare. And Dave Ross losing out that place. And, oh, there's a pile-up at the final corner. What has happened? Let's get a replay here. What has happened? We need to know. I think it's probably started between Broads and James Parker.
Yeah, you can see both of these guys together now, just dipping up the inside in the Lexus now. Has that position covered. But what is going to happen here? I think the inside curb at Cheetah. No, just wide. We're going into the final turn now.
Oh.
A very late braking maneuver there. And a good old punteroo there from the Red Bull car. It's another McLaren chiming in from behind. So an unfortunate series of events there from guys that probably would do things differently if they saw the stream and had a second chance at life. Peter, I'll tell you what, who's going to catch Maddie here at the moment? I think no one, because there's 1 minute and 22 seconds to go. She's got a 4.3 second gap, and we're on board here with Longy, who's stretched that gap out to about 3/10 and doing a great job in the consistency. He is dipping a wheel off here and there, but I'll tell you what, not making mistakes in the wrong places. Here comes Hoggy. He's as close as he's been here through Cheetah for quite some time now. He's going to have a look, maybe up the inside. No, just sticking to his racing line and actually going a little bit wide there, which might just give Perko a little bit of a, encouragement up the inside now. And I'll tell you what, Perko chiming in at this time is what Longy really wanted to do in the grand scheme of things. And that, I'll tell you what, as soon as the BMW starts to apply a little bit of a pressure to the Ferrari of Hoggy, that will just let the pressure valve off Andrew Long, and he could just drive off into the distance, because poor old Hoggy is going to have to keep one eye on the rearview mirror and one eye out the front of that Ferrari.
That is exactly right, and as you just said, he's put himself into not a awkward position, but it's going to be difficult for him to work out what he wants to do. There could be an opportunity in front of him to try and get himself up into 4th position. He's only 4/10 behind. There's a little bit of a breathing zone at the moment between those two cars, so maybe just slightly outside of a dive bomb territory, going up into turn 10, which will be the next real passing opportunity. But he's also got to make sure he doesn't too make a mistake, because Perko's right there to pick up those scraps, and really Perko's probably hoping in the cockpit at the moment that if these two do continue the battle on for this final lap here, that they can go on and get both positions, because that will jump him up to 4th position. That will be his best result so far of the weekend. Around the outside, though, is he going to be able to make it stick? Didn't see that one coming. All the eyes were on for the braking zone, and he's got it done. Has he got it done? He has, and now Hoggy is on the back foot, having to try and defend from Perko. Maddie crosses the line to take victory here in race 2. Redemption has been completed. Rees will cross the line in 2nd. Griffin will take 3rd, but we're all focusing on this battle because they are absolutely going hammer and tongs on the final lap. It's going to be Hoggy who takes 4th position. Long will hold on to 5th, and Perko, probably thinking that he could have taken a spot or two, he will cross the line in 6th position. Eden Nick will take 7th, and it looks like Speed Racer, Bartoletti and Ross will round out the top 10, and Lindsay, we're in for an absolute cracker. Final qualifying and final race of the evening.
Yeah, that was really, really close stuff there. And talk about cutting it late. Hoggy taking it around the outside of mine shaft. That was absolutely jaw-dropping stuff. He just had the momentum and said, thank you very much. Pulled up for the corner to boot as well at the Crocodiles. That was absolutely fantastic racing between those 3 drivers, and it just never ended. Further down the back as well, there was still battling going on, and it all finishes with only one pile up at the final corner, which, considering all the racing they gave us, that's actually fairly impressive if I do say so myself. But Maddie is the one who looked unstoppable here in race number 2. But now we get to learn, heading into race 3, what the tyre situation is like. Did she have newer tyres than Steve-O? Or were they on the same playing field? Who knows?
No, I think just looking at the gaps there, 5.3 seconds, Maddie, I think maybe just taking that new set while she was out in front just to consolidate that that lead that she had. And now going into race 3, has to use the used set perhaps from one of the qualifying sessions. But I guess we'll find out after the break once everyone's loaded up and we know exactly how we're going in the old strategy department.
Yep, so that'll be all for us at the moment as we head towards race number 3. So we'll be back in a few minutes' time for qualifying 3, the final qualifying of the night of the final round of the season. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are underway for the third and final qualifying session of the night and the final qualifying session of the season here in the Fargone Racing GT Challenge. And I'll tell you what, it is night time here in Kyalami. We've had a hot track temp, pure daytime, sun slowly setting, and now the sun has completely set. The starry nights are upon us. It's night time here in South Africa, and this is where everybody is tested. Less visibility, less opportunity for you to see your markers. The car feels like it's going faster because you can see less. It feels like you're in a tunnel. So these are all the pressures that add on when you're in the night time, and any mistake becomes that much more detrimental, and lights can be blinding as well. So you've got to keep your eyes absolutely peeled. So we have lost Christopher Munro here in the commentary box for the third and final one. He had a bit too much alcohol and he's had to go take a leak, and I don't think he'll be returning. But it is still Peter and I here tonight, and this is going to be a good final qualifying as Stephen Rees prepares to kick off proceedings for one final pole position charge.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And we mentioned in the previous races where we saw Maddie actually flashing the lights to try and distract this man on screen, Stephen Rees, in that battle for the lead in the first race. This time around, the flashing the lights will still be effective when it comes race time, but it is also going to be mega distracting with just the blaring headlights of all the other cars in your mirrors. So there is going to be plenty of room for mistakes. As you said, markers will be gone, and this is going to be the first crucial marker here, is where do you brake for the first braking zone of the lap. It's turn 2 on the track map, but really everyone's just going to know it as turn 1. It looks like he navigated that one pretty well. A little bit of a wobble on the exit as he now climbs up the hill. No need to worry for any sunsets as they come through out of barbecue. The next corner will be sunset. No need to worry for that one, and it's looking like it's going to be a pretty decent banker lap here, isn't it?
Yeah, it does look like it for Steve-O at the moment, and he is absolutely flying around the circuit at the moment. He'll be looking to set a reasonable banker to set himself up for a good second lap, but this is where the tyre choice will become known. What they've done over the course of the last 2 races and qualifying sessions will become very apparent, and I think we'll find that Stephen Rees and Maddie will be on a very similar tyre here for the final race.
Yeah, and that is just going to maybe bring that level playing field back into play here. We saw Maddie run away with it in race 2, and as Chris hinted, maybe using that soft tyre once she realised she was starting out in front to try and maintain that lead, especially with that 1-car buffer that she had to this man on screen. He's coming towards the end of the lap using all the track on the exit there, and now it's a very crucial corner. The cheater, no mistakes through there, no invalidations, only one more corner to handle, and it's turn 16. Power down, rear is absolutely planted with the rear engine in it, and he will set the first lap time of the session, and it's a 1:40.8, so we're already faster than the pole position time set in the last qualifying session. But can Maddie respond here in the Aston Martin? A little bit of a wiggle going through turn 15, coming into turn 16. We're right on board to have an understanding of how the car is handling in these nighttime conditions. It's half a second at the moment between first and second. Where does Maddie go on the timings? And it is the P2, just shy of 3/10 away, but she's got one more crack at it.
Yeah, so here we go on board for a lap of Kyalami with Maddie in the Aston Martin. So first year, and oh, that's a tank slapper there through turn 1, but she's still even, so clearly her turn 1 wasn't good on the opening lap either. That could have been a huge gain, but instead it turns out to be even through turn 5, over the curb here for Maddie, and she drives it out towards sunset, but there's no sun in sight here in this final qualifying session as she settles down into rhythm and down the hill through the sweeping right-hander, and now in towards the clubhouse corner, through second gear and then up through third, and then just get it back down the revs, down the hill through the S's now. Stephen Rees is up a tenth, Maddie still even, and she needs to find 3/10, and Steve-O's finding more. We're going to go away from this onboard lap here with Maddie, because Stephen Reese is absolutely on a hot one at the moment as he heads through. Oh, but he's had a snap there and lost it all. So back to Maddie now. Pressure on for Stephen Reese. Maddie needs to find 3/10 in the final sector, though. This is going to be really difficult unless she made a critical mistake in the final sector. So the winner of race number 2 and the runner-up in race number 1, looking to claim pole position, but can she do it? Has she done enough? She's got traffic for good measure, and that's pole position efforts absolutely in the bin here for Maddie as Dave Ross gets in the way. Justin Griffin, nothing availing either. So Stephen Reese back to pole position form here in the Porsche in race number 3's qualifying. It's a 1 minute 40.820 to take pole position here in qualifying 3 by over 2.5 tenths back to Maddie.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit disappointing because we won't know what that lap time's going to be until the final corner. It looked like it was going to be pretty close. You've got all the extra info. What was her time looking like before the final corner there?
It was still dead even, to be honest.
Yep, so maybe not quite enough for pole position, maybe an improvement. Again, we're never going to know. The final corner could have been absolutely mega. All is not lost, though. She's starting on the front row with Stephen Rees once again. As we saw in all the previous races, this Aston Martin needs a little bit of time for that turbo to spool up. But once it gets going, that machine is absolutely rapid. So I guess it's going to be expected to see Stephen pull away early on in the race, maybe give it half a lap, and Maddie can be right back on it.
Yeah, I think so, as Steve-O is pretty much safe in the championship here. Just for a little update with his results through the opening 2 races, he should be home free for yet another GT Challenge World Championship here. So he will be crowned champion, but we'll get to that because if he has a big accident, that can still all change. But Tash saying in the chat, Maddie's got to win again or I'm walking into the ocean before the Sportsbet people come for me. Oh, no. A little bit of under-the-table betting here, potentially, in the chat from Tash. As, yeah, that was absolutely fantastic here for qualifying. So your starting order here under the starry night sky is going to be Stephen Reese off of pole position from Maddie, then Andrew Long, then Hoggy, then Justin Griffin, then Eda Nick, then Bartoletti, Parker, Perko, Speed Racer, MJ, Alexandra, Tobasiah, Bradley, Demon Boost, Broad, Slim Shady, Tom Marzella, Dave Ross, and Michael Seal. So we have 2 minutes until race time. If you had to make a prediction, Peter, how do you think this is going to go?
It's going to be very difficult because we have not had a repeat winner so far. We've had 2 different races, 2 different race winners. That's going to make it a little bit challenging, but based off the race pace that we've seen in the first 2, I reckon Maddie's going to take this one home.
Yep, it's a fair call. I think it all comes down to tyres. That gap in qualifying certainly was a bit elongated by the fact that Maddie made a big mistake at turn 1. So that definitely plays a factor. So Stephen Reese definitely will still be considering that. And if I had to hazard a guess, big slide at turn 1 still being even, it was probably 2 or 3 tenths. So I think that Maddie on a very similar pace-wise to Steve-O, and probably that means similar tyre.
Yeah, that is going to absolutely, it's going to be a ripper race. I can tell you now that. And then you've also got that big battle that we had in race 2. You've got Long and Hoggy starting right next to each other once again. Perko's a little bit further back, but I'm sure he's going to be able to claw his way back through the field. He was pulling off some devious dive bombs in the previous couple of races, so I expect him to finish further up the field as well.
Yep, that is a absolutely fair call here as we have just over half a minute until we're underway for the final green flag of the season. And if I had to back a driver, oh, it's really difficult. I feel like normally I'd back Stephen Reese, but Maddie's driving an Aston Martin. And I really like a good old Aston Martin. As one of my other co-commentators, Charles Byrne, would know, he's here in the chat. He's a Lexus lover, I'm an Aston lover, and we've gone head-to-head on that a few times. I'm going to back Maddie, purely on the Aston effect alone. So, here we...
Points.
Yep. Can't say. Anyway, so here we go. Stephen Reese and Maddie line up alongside each other once again here for the final time this season. And what an iconic duo it is. These two go head to head. If Maddie had had better attendance over the course of this season, it could be going down to the final race here in race 3. But it's Stephen Reese alongside Maddie and Longy and Hoggy as the green flags for the final time this season are ready to fly. The green lights are ready to illuminate here in Kyalami. So here we go then. We are underway for racing action. Stephen Reese gets off to a better jump. We've seen that all night here. Maddie on the back foot, but in towards turn 1. Is it going to be a late on the brakes maneuver here from Maddie as they head into turn 1? No, not quite. Meanwhile, Hoggy and Longy go, Hoggy and Longy go side by side as they head through turn 3, now in towards turn 5. They go side by side. The BMW and Ferrari going at it again, resuming the battle that they've had all night here. And now Justin Griffin sees the opportunity to get the nose up the inside of Andrew Long as they head into turn 6, and getting it done there is Justin Griffin, and a fantastic bit of driving and just a little bit audacious. So definitely some commitment there. Meanwhile, Perkins under pressure here from the Lexus of Speed Racer, but nothing availing for them at the moment. Stephen Reese not able to eke out a gap. Matty is right there, hot on his heels.
Yeah, and this is pretty much exactly what we were talking about. Reese would pull off to an early lead, but this Aston Martin has already kicked well and truly into gear with the gap only 0.3 of a second, and they've already pulled a decent gap to the car behind. That gap is currently sitting at about a second to third position, so expect this to be pretty much a repeat of race 1, with first and second pulling out the stops all the way out in front, and then the rest of the field pretty much battling it out for the final sheep stations of the season. You've got Hoggy currently sitting in third with Griffin right on his tail, but this Aston Martin of Maddie is looking, well, definitely looks like it's got the better race pace at the moment, but she struggled to get through in race 1. Can she do one step better and be able to make that pass for the lead of the final race of the season and go out on a high with a win?
Yeah, that is the big question here as Maddie. Oh no, I think that... Oh, is she slowing down to let the Ferrari go? She is! Oh my god, it's a wild card in play here, I think, by Hoggy to get the gap between himself and Griffin. That is absolutely fantastic play with the wild card, using it here in the final race of the final round of the season, forcing Maddie to drop back behind. That hurts her a significant amount, allowing Stephen Reese to get away here, and Hoggy gets himself a buffer to Justin Griffin before Maddie can try and re-pressure. That's absolutely genius. It could be detrimental when Maddie goes back up the inside, but Stephen Reese breathes a sigh of relief here in the cockpit of that Porsche 992 as he can drive away from the field while he has the opportunity.
We were wondering before the stream started if anyone did have a wildcard left to play, and it looks like Hoggy, he had one left to play, and he's used it to great effect because he's now found himself up in second. Maybe he's had a bit of race pace that he's been keeping up his sleeve. There's tyre strategy, so he could be on a brand new set of tyres, and we don't even know. At the moment, though, the gap hasn't been coming down. It's still sitting at 1.7 seconds, but I can only imagine in the cockpit of that Aston Martin, there is 100% a very angry driver behind the wheel, who now sits in third, should be second, right behind the rear wing of that Porsche, but now has to overtake a car and then some. 1.7 seconds has to be closed down to get herself back into this battle for a race win here today.
Yeah, she closed 1.6 seconds in race number 1, but the two of them look a lot more evenly matched on pace, and that could make it more difficult, but she does have more time. 25 minutes here for the final race. She now has 21 minutes to go, but she's still got to get past Hoggy in the meantime, so she's under pressure now, and Hoggy has definitely thrown a spanner into the works here as they head down the hill in towards Sunset. Maddie is going to sweep back around the outside. No, Hoggy defending it, then parking it again on the apex. Maddie is stuck as she heads down into the clubhouse section. This is absolutely detrimental to her race, and you've got to think this is Steve-O home free. But now Maddie back up the inside. It's desperate, but it's a late lunge. It's move done, and that is also Justin Griffin taking the place as well, saying thank you very much. I will take that one. And now here comes Andrew Long as well. Justin Griffin on the outside of Maddie, heading into turn 10. Nothing going, nothing doing. Maddie ahead. Here comes Hoggy once again to fight back the McLaren that he so desperately tried to avoid by using the wild card. They go wheel to wheel through turn 12. Now towards turn 13 they go. Justin Griffin on the inside line, gets to the apex, drives it out, forces Hoggy to back out of it. Hoggy loses the place. The wild card has not played in his favour. Maddie let loose to the distance. 3.7 seconds to close. And Hoggy, his race, definitely put into a bit of a spiral.
Yeah, and this all started back at Clubhouse Corner, turn 7 on the circuit. He was wide on the exit. We just saw it as we cut camera views. He was on the grass trying to gather it back up. That gave Maddie the run to go up or down the inside. It was a very audacious move to go down the inside at the next corner. She got it done. So be it. A tiny little bit of contact. I don't think anything's going to come out of that one, though. It was all hard, fair racing. Maddie got herself up into second position, but then we saw this man on screen, Griffin. He managed to take advantage of that, get himself up into third, almost had a look for second position, and what a play that would have been to get himself from fourth to second in only a handful of corners. But the gap is still actually extending between first and second. It's now 3.9 seconds. So has that battle taken that little bit of the edge out of Maddie's tyres that she still had left in him? We'll have to find out as the race progresses to continue. As we now take a look here at Nick, he finds himself in sixth position in his Mustang, and he's trying to defend from Perko. I said at the start of the race, Perko, he's going to be looking to try and get himself up a few positions here to get himself back into that battle. Rear end lost under the brakes, and I thought he was going to go into the back of the Mustang. Holds on to it, but he has got himself up into seventh position, so that's a gain of 2 positions, and the gap continuing to extend out in front.
Yep, and this is absolutely fantastic stuff up and down the field. This field is absolutely going off at the moment. 20 cars over 3 short races, different tyres as well. It is absolutely the right format. I've said this since the first time I saw the Super Sprint format in play. It is absolutely the perfect formula for Fargone racing with the size of the grid, the type of drivers. It just works perfectly every single time without fail and delivers the best racing action, and this has been one of the best seasons to date. I unfortunately couldn't commentate Zolder in K-Mania, which was also a good one because I had a migraine. I just had to broadcast and let the co-commentator do his work, and yeah, this has been fantastic. I also missed Nürburgring, a 90-minute wet race, which is apparently great from start to finish, and Bathurst as well because my internet wasn't playing nice, so I've missed my fair share. But here we go. They're getting it all back. They're showing me what I've missed out on. And over the course of this season, it's been a start-to-finish battle between everybody. Stephen Rees rising above the rest once again here, though, proving why he is champion. Nick at the moment under pressure from Lee Perkins still. This gap getting closer, and so much going on up and down the field.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of calmed down just in the little bit of a lap and a half as they kind of find their place on the track and try and figure out who they're racing. But one man who has not done that yet is Perko. He is still hunting the back of the Mustang, trying to find any way around. But at the moment, it looks like the Mustang has got the better of him, and he might have to get a little bit creative on how he's going to get through on Nick here to claim that 6th position, because he looks like he's got pretty good pace and he could get himself back up to the back of the other BMW of Long, who he was battling, and then Hoggy is in 4th position, so we could have a full rewind back to race 2 where we saw that brilliant battle between those 3 all race long. And what a way to end the season that would be if they were able to battle it out all like that. But I keep taking my eyes back out to the front because unfortunately it doesn't look like Maddie's got the pace to try and catch Rees at the moment. 4.5 seconds is the gap. It was about 3.7 seconds when she managed to get back into second, and the gap has only ever grown more. Griffin, though, in 3rd position. He is definitely looking like this 3rd place may be the best he can do as he runs very wide and coming out of the Clubhouse Corner, and that is going to be sorry, that was actually the barbecue that he was coming out of, and he now goes through Sunset, and yeah, luckily for him, that mistake, it didn't end up costing him too much, but if Hoggy was just a little bit closer, we could have seen a bit of an opportunistic move down the inside at the following corner.
Yeah, we definitely could have as that battle settles back down. Lee Perkins still right there, though, on the back of Eda Nick, trying to get the move done, but just falling away at the wrong parts, heading in towards the acceleration zones. It seems to be where Perkins is struggling, which when you're looking for a move, it just doesn't work for you if you're not good off the exits of the corners. Meanwhile, Justin Griffin now, once again, under pressure. Hoggy right there, but probably too far back for a lunge. You never know, though. Hoggy looking for it. Can't quite make it stick, though. Doesn't send a move up the inside. Just being patient, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. It's V8 versus V6 between these two cars, but when you really muster it up, they have a very similar top-end speed. It's just a little bit of a difference in acceleration, so that isn't going to be the issue when it comes to getting the overtake done. It's mainly going to come down to the driver and their confidence behind the wheel. As here we go. This could be it between the two of them now. Justin Griffin getting closed in on as, oh, it's not working at the moment there for Hoggy. Just still trying to get a move done as Maddie's #1 fan in the chat still supporting Maddie, but also saying, what is the K-Mania? What does the K in K-Mania stand for? The Cayman. The Cayman GT4. K-Mania was a round of GT4 cars. Specifically the Porsche 718 Cayman. It was basically a cup round in the middle of a GT3 series. It was fantastic, but I think we'll see more of that format, because I think that after that race, despite my migraine, I think I went into my DMs with Mr. Stephen Reese and said, do more of that. That was absolutely fantastic, and I'll also be asking for some more sprint rounds, I think, but super sprint rounds, that is, because this is absolutely fantastic, but it depends on what he feels like delivering, what he thinks is in the best interest, obviously being the organiser. But James Alexander at the moment also in a battle with Toba Sire with 13.5 minutes remaining. It's Mustang on Mustang action here.
It absolutely is, and I think this is also the first time so far we've seen the Mustangs battle each other, as the Peter Jackson livery Mustang looks to the outside, tries to get the switchback, and he's going to just keep a nose in as they go down the hill into Mineshaft, and they're going to go side by side. We saw a great move in the last race through here for one of the top positions. Unfortunately, this time round, to no luck, is Topasai going to be able to get the move done down the inside this time around. But it was actually this corner here that we saw was the issue for Alexandre, where he clipped the inside. Oh, sorry, he actually got it out on the outside, threw it to the inside. Well, unfortunately did clip another car on his way through. Looks like, though, no loss of confidence this time around in race 3, and it's Mustang on Mustang, V8 on V8, raw American power here in South Africa, and it is going to be a battle right down to the finish, as it looks to me.
Yeah, it definitely does look like it here for the battle P11. These two still going at it, and in the same car as well. It makes it that much more entertaining, as meanwhile Justin Griffin, under a lot of pressure there. Hoggy 2/10 underneath the rear wing at the moment of the McLaren in front. Griffin still doing God's work for himself at the moment, making this one work, and obviously he took advantage of the fact that Hoggy put a car between the two of them. The car between the two of them took an audacious move, and then Griffin took that place, and since then he's been on the back foot defending, but able to stay ahead. Still a long while to go in this one, though. 12 minutes remaining, and Hoggy still right there, trying to retake the place that he lost due to his misfortune. And now Justin Griffin still putting the screws to the defense here, and this is doing very well for himself at the moment.
Yeah, that wildcard from Hoggy was very well played, and it definitely looked like it was working out for him, because for the better part of 2 laps, he was able to keep Matty behind. Unfortunately, though, it was his own mistake that undid it all, and now he finds himself in 4th position, trying to take a podium position away from Griffin here. It's McLaren versus Ferrari down the main straight through the kink, and it looks like he's still a little bit too far away for a dive bomb. Definitely looks like it's corner exits where he's struggling a little bit, which would probably explain where we saw that mistake come through from before. But Yeah, Griffin's doing an excellent job at the moment, making his McLaren as wide as possible, defending where it needs to be defended. But further down the field, we can't forget the battles that are going on as well, because it's now Lamborghini versus Aston Martin. The Lambo has got the better run out of the final corner. Is he going to be able to take the position away from Dave Ross? Ross goes slightly defensive, a little bit more middle circuit, goes back to the traditional racing line to hold on to his 13th position at the moment. But it's going to be the cutback for Seal here in the Lamborghini as a car goes wide in the background, but we'll focus on this battle. It's a matte black, pretty much stealth livery Lamborghini, which plays brilliantly for this night race. All you can see is very aggressive looking headlights, and they'll go through sunset side by side, backs out of it right at the critical point of the corner, and it looks like just for the moment it may stay as it is, with this Aston Martin making his car as wide as the track will allow him.
Yeah, and listen to the roaring V10 underneath that Lamborghini. It sounds absolutely fantastic, screeching away as he sits up behind the Aston Martin, which also doesn't sound too bad itself. But this three-way battle absolutely kicking off at the moment. Slim Shady also looking to get involved, as Michael Seal still just getting more and more used to ACC at the moment, normally racing Assetto Corsa, so he's just getting acclimatized and it's working for him at the moment. He's getting quicker and quicker as the night goes on, and I'll tell you what, the racecraft doesn't dissipate, because he's been having some fantastic battles here throughout this night. As here we go, he's on the back of Dave Ross, and oh, he's so close. Nothing doing at the moment though. The Lamborghini straight line speed definitely being the hurting factor at the moment as they head through the final corner.
Yeah, and pretty much we're going to take it off again, exactly where we picked up this battle, out of the final corner. And as you said, the Lamborghini doesn't look too much better in the straight line. Even in the slipstream, the Aston Martin is able to hold its own, and it looks like he's going to be too far back this time around for any sort of dive. The Aston, no need to defend it this time around, as he runs quite a bit wide actually. And is this going to allow the Aston Martin, the Lamborghini to take another shot at this? It's an unforced error from Ross here, and it's another error from Ross as he goes really wide of the apex as they head through the corner. And lucky for him this time around, a little bit of snap of oversteer from the Lamborghini as we ride on board meant that it was a bit of a level playing field as they came to corner exit, and he will hold on this time around. But it looks like the cracks are starting to form in this battle, and we could see a move very shortly as the racing lines are starting to get a little bit creative to try and defend any sort of run. He's trying to block the progress of the Lamborghini as we now start the climb back up the hill into a really heavy braking zone, and there is a run for the Lamborghini. Is he going to be able to make a move here? He goes defensive, he goes to the outside. There's a move in the background as well between the McLarens, and is he going to get this one done? No, but the McLaren of Slim Shady, can he also chime into this battle? He's now got his nose down the inside, backs out of it right at the critical point of the corner, and it looks like this is really heating up now. And sorry, it's actually Tim Bradley who's managed to get ahead of Slim Shady in the previous set of corners. He now finds himself up into 15th position to try and get himself ahead of the Lamborghini, but it's turned from a two-car battle very quickly into a three.
Yeah, Tim came out of absolutely nowhere. He wasn't even in the background of this battle, and then he just appeared at the hairpin. I'm not sure what happened to him, what put him this far back. He is quicker than these two in front of him. He's been further up the field all night, so I think maybe he got into a moment, and now he's just fighting his way back through. Appeared out of nowhere. He's on the back of this battle, looking to make some moves. And I'll tell you what, I don't think it's going to be long before he gets his nose stuck straight into this one, as Dave Ross still under some pressure at the moment. But hats off to Dave Ross. This is the best he's driven all season. It might be further down, but in previous races, he's just gone from wall to wall. And here in Kyalami, he's put the pieces together, and he's absolutely flying. So hats off to him on this one at the moment. As Tim Bradley, I said that he was faster than the two of them. Maybe not. I'm not sure if he's got any damage on that McLaren or if he's just backing out to let these two go at it. I'm not sure what the situation is, but he's absolutely struggling to get his nose in at the moment through this part of the circuit, though. He was a bit quicker on the previous lap, so let's see what he can muster up as Michael Seal once again getting a good run on the Aston Martin in front of him as he heads down through the S's and in towards turn 10. Let's see what he can do here. Michael Seal looking to the outside line. Now here comes Tim Bradley, late on the brakes through the mid corner, gets alongside but isn't able to get the better exit. as this battle still continues on as they head down through the mine shaft. 6 minutes remaining, so he's running out of time here as Bradley and Michael Seal. And still Dave Ross leading this three-way battle.
Yeah, and looking at the timing there, there's nearly 12 seconds to the next car on the road. So really, even if Bradley was able to get himself ahead of these two, as he looks to the inside, is he going to get it done? No, he can't this time around, but he forces the Lamborghini to go out wide, and they'll head now down the straight, side by side. Not quite side by side, but I'm sure that by the time we get to the braking zone, there will be absolutely a move on the cards here. McLaren versus Lamborghini. It doesn't look like it's going to happen this time around. Bradley thinking of the long game. But yeah, as I was saying, it's now over 12 seconds to the next car on track. So even if Bradley was able to get himself by with a superior pace, realistically, unless there's issues further up the road, I don't think he's going to be able to catch the Mustang in 12th position. So maybe biding his time, playing it a little bit safe, trying to not get any damage, save the tyres for a last couple of lap dash towards a 12th position, as the Lamborghini is a little bit slow coming out the corner.
Yeah, he is a little bit slow. So once again, Bradley is going to have a good opportunity, and surely not down the inside of turn 9. It's not going to be here as they head down through the compression, back up the hill. Bradley a little bit further back. Michael Seal also not in a position to go for it here on Dave Ross. He's going to show the nose anyway. Oh no! That's a big moment onto the brakes there for Tim Bradley, as we'll get a replay of that heading into the braking zone. Oh, he just hits the grass and he just loses control. Flies into the side of the underwater mammal, but luckily for him, that's not to the underwater mammal's detriment there. He manages to get away with it fairly well. As actually, no, he is pulled over to the side. I'm not sure why. I think maybe he's had a moment on the exit of his own. That's really unfortunate there. Tim Bradley causing that incident just by getting a little bit overzealous, trying to use all the road. But that's this battle absolutely done. Finito and Justin Griffin and Hoggy are spaced out. Hoggy did get past Justin Griffin in the end, though. We just didn't catch it watching the other battle, as now Eden, Nick and Perkins still continue to go at it here. 3 minutes 45 seconds to go.
Yeah, and out in front, the gap is coming down. It's now 3.6 seconds, but with only 3.5 minutes left, I don't think that's going to be enough time for Matty to try and catch Rees. Rees probably just taking it a bit easy now, knowing how much time is left in this race, and just trying to get himself to the end to see the checkered flag in first. But Eden Nick here has got a set of BMW headlights blinding his rear vision mirror, and that is only going to make it ever more difficult for him to figure out where he needs to defend. Pretty much he's just trying to defend the blinding light of the Beamer there, and he can now try and see if he can't hold on to this 6th position. But as I said, Perko's going to be wanting to get himself through the field, get himself back to where he was in race 2. He hasn't been able to do that probably as quickly as he liked, but finding himself in 7th position isn't too bad of a recovery. He's definitely within a striking distance of a 6th position here if a mistake comes from the Mustang.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that one there, Peter, and now they're going to continue to go at it. But that 4th straight line speed, I think, is probably the difference. That Mustang, an absolute rocket in a straight line compared to the BMW, which is making Perkins' job that much harder, even when he gets close like this, heading in towards turn 5. Is he going to have a look? No, not quite. It's just not the right opportunity, unfortunately, at this stage of the race. 2 minutes 20 to go, and you don't want to throw it all away, despite how desperately he will want to get ahead, as also Justin Griffin closing Hoggy back down that gap 0.6 of a second through the middle sector split. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Could we see the change for the podium happen again? We already saw these two go at it. Justin Griffin lost the place, but now Hoggy in a position where he is the car defending. And do either of these drivers have wild cards left to use? That's another question. Could Griffin say, hey, get out of the way, Hoggy? Or is that not going to be an issue? These are things that we will find out in the next 1 minute and 40 seconds. But Stephen Rees leading the way by 3 seconds. Matty finally closing, but it's too little too late unless Steve-O makes a critical error. Matty last time out did a 40.897. Stephen Rees did a 41.4. So that pace deficit looming large, but still just not enough time here as Stephen Rees begins his final charge around the circuit. So let's go to him here as he rounds one final lap here in Kyalami.
Yeah, and what a season it's been for Reese. He's already pretty much clinched the championship, and a win here today will absolutely seal the deal for himself to take yet another one. And he's only got a few bare kilometres to go as he runs a little bit wide there, just dipping the wheel towards the grass. So the gap is now under 3 seconds, but as we've been saying the last few laps, it's a little bit too little, too late, unfortunately, for Maddie in the Aston Martin. Reese can probably relax, but he doesn't want to relax too much because that's when you start making mistakes. But yeah, about half a lap to go for him now. He's just got realistically the end of this sector and the final sector to find himself to see the checkered flag. You've got Hoggy still holding on to that third position ahead of Griffin, so that battle will probably go down to the wire, currently sitting at about 0.6 of a second, so it'll have to be a pretty large move for that position to switch around as now we head down the hill for the final time. Do you want to head us down to the checkered flag?
Yep, so Stephen Reese, forever the unstoppable here in the GT Challenge. He didn't win it last season due to various technical difficulties and Andrew Long just looking consistent as ever. But here in this season, it's redemption. Stephen Reese, last time he took on the Porsche, didn't fare too well. But this season, he took on the Porsche again. Everybody questioned it, but there's no more questions to be asked here as Stephen Reese, for the final time this season, will cross the line to win the race and win the Fargone Racing GT Challenge Season 22 Championship. Stephen Reese is your champion here in the GT Challenge. Once again, another sublimely driven season from the number 6, and he takes home another.
Yeah, it has been what a season it has been, especially this round. It was still all the play for. There wasn't too much of a gap in the championship. As we said at the start of the stream, it was about 60 odd points, so still all to play for. Unfortunately for Long, he hasn't really been a massive factor in this final race. He crossed the line in 5th for this one round as he now starts the celebratory donuts for Stephen Reese there. Matty ended up 2.4 seconds behind, so there was a little bit of a comeback, but again, too little, too late, as now the field kind of celebrates a season well done.
Yeah, that was a fantastic night of racing as well. That super sprint format once again lending itself well as everybody getting the donuts in, but no one deserves it more than the championship winner himself, Stephen Reese. A fantastic display here, taking 2 out of the 3 races here tonight, winning race number 1 and race number 3 to secure his championship. So he'll be taking the number 1 back off of Longy, who's right there next to him in the BMW. Longy will return back to his old racing number, and potentially with a different car. Stephen Reese as well will already be thinking to the next season, thinking, what car do I want to run next? What car do I want to conquer the championship in next season? We know he's a man who likes to change cars, but that was an absolutely long, hard fought championship battle, but Stephen Reese reigns victorious in the end.
Yeah, at this rate, you could think that if he keeps changing cars and keeps getting championships, he'll start collecting them as if they were Affinity Stones, wouldn't you?
Well, I think he's already gotten more than the amount of Affinity Stones, to be honest. There's been 22 seasons of this, and I'll tell you what, he's been there from the beginning. So I joined in season 18, and I think he's won 3 out of the 4 championships since then, maybe 2 out of the 4 championships, and I think I've been told he was on a more dominant run even before that, and alongside on the resume as well goes his Interclub Racing Championship wins as well against the best of the best on Assetto Corsa. So he's multi-talented behind the wheel in any sim. So that is going to wrap it up here. So your final order of the season in race number 3 here tonight is Stephen Reese, then Matty, Hoggy, Justin Griffin, Andrew Long, Eda Nick, Perkins, Speed Racer, MJ, James Alexandra, Tobasiah, Broads, Dave Ross, Tim Bradley, Michael Seal, James Parker, Tom Marzella, Slim Shady, Damon Boost, and Bartoletti. So thank you to everybody for watching. So thank you, Tash. You've been here almost every single round for the last few seasons. You're an absolutely committed viewer here in the GT Challenge. Thank you, Carl Mybus as well, and Scallywagon for jumping in to the chat here to round out the night. And thank you all for watching. I've been Lindsay Model here in the commentary box for this season of the GT Challenge. Tonight, I was joined by Peter Clark, and a big up to him. He did an absolutely fantastic job here tonight. Thank you for joining me. And
Thank you for the invite.
yeah, absolutely any time. So that is going to be all here. So until tomorrow night when the Wednesday Cup is on Sensational TV, we'll see you then. That'll be with Zach O'Reilly and the one, the only, alongside me, Peter Clark. I've been Lindsay Muddle, joined by Peter. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.